I thought I'd jump back on the HQ for a bit again next couple of weeks. Been driving it quite a bit, it's been really good, no issues at all. Drives nice, probably 1,500 and something Ks on it now. It's done really well. The only thing I've come across, I bought some insulated spacers for the intake manifold and went to fit them. I pulled the top out of the manifold off and found a little bit of oil in there, just obviously breezing a little bit, it's just pulling the bottom of the manifold. Not something I'm really happy with. I'm gonna pull the, well, not pull it off, but redo my breather system. It's was just using the factory size lines, and I talked to the engine builder. It's probably just a line size issue. So I'm just gonna play around, do a bit of welding on the rocker covers, put some -8 bungs in them. Actually -10 or -8, I can't remember which ones I got now. And just run some larger lines to a proper catch can. And I'll just take you through some steps on going through that and getting a half usable catch can system sorted out. So that's the catch can kit that I've grabbed. It's just a generic online kit. Seems to be a dozen or so retailers selling these as their own brand. It will look identical. No real difference to them. Being a catch can, I wasn't really too fussed about the pressure holding capabilities of these fittings. They seem nice. They everything goes on and off quite nicely. Should be fine. -10 hose it was. That should be plenty big enough for what we're doing. Catch can does have baffle in it. Baffle isn't great, so I'm going to go through and do a couple of mods inside of that as well, and make that work a little bit better. I only want to really improve the oil separation in there. The baffle that's in there is really just a tube inside with a sort of fly cut Welsh plug jammed into it. Probably work a little bit, but I think we can improve on that a bit. Got my spare set of rocker covers out. I believe these actually off a later model. Had a slightly different breather system on it anyway, but passenger side one, I'm gonna use the factory outlet there, and I've drilled that out already at the 20mm for a weld-in bung. So I'll just use that on the passenger side one. Driver's side is going to be a little bit more difficult, just because I do want to retain the coils on the rockers. Just keeps it simpler. Much easier. Works there, just reliable. So I'm going to have to try and mount a fitting off of the top of there somewhere around there is what I'm thinking. Drill a hole straight in the angle of that, weld another bung in there, just feel around it. We'll keep the same 20mm hole size. I'll sort of show you on the car where they're going to sit. I'm choosing this side on the driver's side, that spot on the rocker cover, purely for the cutout in the coil bracket. It's going to let me put that pretty much bang in there. Won't foul any bracketry, any plugs. Let the hose come out nice and straight out the front. And I'll see if I can route those hoses around the front here somewhere, and see if I can put the catch can in down here somewhere. Don't want it as a showpiece, just keep it up the front here somewhere. Not sure what side yet. I'm thinking I'm probably just going to hide it along the radiator hose, along the air cleaner, just to make it nice and neat. And I'll have a crack at measuring up and welding in these bungs. Oh, that'll fuck that. Don't forget to turn the gas on. Well, certainly nothing to brag about. It's pretty horrible looking weld, but it's on there. All the holes are filled, ain't going to leak. Certainly aluminium is one of those things that you don't do it all the time, you are almost guaranteed to be shit at it. Just got to get the old fitting out of the driver's side rocker cover. And as well as the aluminium up is enough to clear it up, give it a bit of a twist, and move the top side out. Quite easy. And just like that, a little bit of heat. Get the other one out. Weld that hole up, get the new one started. Now that pipe's out of the way, took a measurement from on the existing car between there and where I want the bung. It was 80 millimeters. So we've just gone through and I've drilled a pilot hole heading in. That's an incredibly thick casting on that corner. That's got to be 10, maybe 12 millimeters thick. It's unreal. So just going to grab out the trusty hole saw and we'll run a 20 mil hole through that and we'll get this bung welded in as well. Starting to hit the inner baffle, it's just time to take out the pilot drill. My pilot drill has been take out the little drill bit that centres this. Should be enough meat left there now to self-centre. And I won't have to worry about drilling through the stainless steel baffle. It'll do it. Get a load of the thickness of that casting. How crazy is that? For a rock cover, that is ridiculous. These things are super solid. Got the hole drilled out, ended up punching through the baffle side unfortunately. Couldn't really be helped to get my step drill out to create a bit more of a recess. But the got the bung positioned in there where I want to weld it. I've got the rocker cover propped up on the right angle for in the car. So a little bit of clearance around, should be able to get some weld in that. And hopefully it goes back on there okay. Should clear everything. Get some weld on that and see how it goes. Did a quick fill of the other one as well. Should be alright. I'll give these a quick buzz back on the little sander and see what they come up like. So buzz the welds back a little bit. Not ready for a static conversion, just to try to smooth off any roughness that might catch some crap in there. And I also went around the rest of the rocker covers and just had a bit of a casting seam around the outsides. I just ran that back, smoothed it off. Should come up nicely now. I'll get another can of wrinkle black and I'll crack these ones up and we'll move on to the next step of playing with that little catch can and whacking some baffles in that. So this is the crappy catch can that I've picked up. Very generic sort of design, drain on the bottom, 2 breezer lines. You can just sort of make out in the hole on the left, the tube coming down from the top. It ends pretty much right where the bottom hole is there. But take the filter off, you can see inside the crappy baffles. It is very small. You blow through one of these tubes here, you can feel the restriction from that. And just looking up there, you can just make out the tube and the baffle on the bottom. The plan is to knock those two baffles out, and we'll put some nice coarse steel wool in there, give it a bit of a steel wool baffling, and put it back together with that and use that as a catch can. It's going to get a bit rough, and we'll just bash them straight through the bottom. Well, that was easy. One crappy baffle. That's two crappy baffles out of the way. I've got some steel wool. We'll pack that up in there and seal it back up so we can find somewhere to put this in the car. Getting the wrinkle black to wrinkle when it's only 10 degrees outside. Probably not the best idea spraying this when it's so freaking cold, but a little bit of heat to get the process started. Let it sit overnight. Actually, pretty cold. Bit of a vice grip garage rebuild on the steering box as well while I'm at it. That's another project. Get some nice coarse steel wool, like kitchen scourer steel wool. Not going to break down, not going to cause me any issues in there. Just going to jam that in through the vent hole. That's quite big enough. It's just going to slow down the airflow coming through the catch can. Slow it down, give the oil something to stick to. The oil can separate and just drain to the bottom of the can. It's not much. One of those, might see if I can get another one of those in there, and that should be it. And that was two scourers in there. That's packed in, left up in the tube a little bit. That should work. Got a bit of thread sealant on the drain. Get that in there. We can start working out some installation. Sealed off for the time being. Alright, let's get this in the engine bay. It's going to get the rock covers swapped over for the ones I've just put the bungs in, and then we'll get the new ones on there, start running some lines. I'm just going to take all the coil brackets off, unplug those, and get the new ones on there. Always nice to get in and have a bit of a look whenever you open stuff up. All looks quite nice in there. It hasn't been making any strange noises or anything. Everything feels just as it should do. Very sweet. Oh, nice. Covers back on, coils are mounted back up, bolted down, all plugged in again. Now just got to run the fittings and some lines, and I put in the catch can just next to the air cleaner. I should be able to run the lines around the intake tube and along the rocker covers. Should be pretty subtle and fit in nicely. Didn't get any instructions with the fittings. They look to be the same as any, well, same as most of them, racework style fittings. We'll just push it in until we hit the little bead in the back, and then I'll screw in the male into that section and lock the hose into place. Pretty much it. Around a bit, have some lube for that, and we'll push the fitting. Just watching the top of this, making sure it's not moving, putting this in there. They're always in between those ones. Leave a little bit of a gap at the end of that. Guess I've got to adjust it. That end's right to put on there and try. Just gonna run the hose in sort of where I'm thinking I'm gonna run it. Oh, yep, definitely some stuff on that. That's fantastic. Try that again without the metal spinner. Just try and run that sort of. I'm just playing around with the hose. Get one end on. I've put a 45-degree fitting on the other end of the catch can. I'm sort of dummying up, just sort of getting a rough measurement where it's going to go. Go over the top and underneath with that. Let's get under about there. We'll make up the other end of that. Do the usual bit of tape around where you're cutting. Some cable cutters, my sort of preference. There's a pretty clean cut, should be able to work with that. So I made up the other line, got both ends on there. Got it running down the front, under the intake, into that catch can. Both sides are clear. It's nice and close through there, but it's all clear. Both parts don't look too bad. Would have liked to have it set up a bit higher, but I just don't want it rubbing on the injector harnesses. They just both drop down. Nice little subtle bend out of that one. Start it up and see if it's happy with that. Bit cold. cold. Initial idle until the idle land motor settles down. So you can hear the idle land motor starting to close up. With a cam, I promise. I'd call that a success. Seems to all go back together, everything's happy, nothing's rubbing. Move on to the next bit of the project.